Welcome everyone to the DAZN Soccer Show. I'm Adi Oladipo, joined by former Arsenal forward Leanne Sanderson, former Real Madrid centre-back Jonathan Woodgate. The biggest game in world football, the biggest club game in world football was played on the weekend, El Clasico. Real Madrid winning it 3-1. I felt comfortable in the game as well, up until at least the 82nd or 83rd minute when Barcelona got a penalty. Benzema opened the scoring. That's it now, isn't it? Ballon d'Ors, that's it. That was that little battle between him and Lewandowski, and he showed 1 second, Lewandowski, you're good, but you're not Benzema good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, it was great to see. I feel like the El Clasico's lost its touch a little bit since Messi and Ronaldo left. I feel like people didn't really focus on it as much. Whereas now, and you can see Benzema, I mean, he clearly should be crowned, Ballon d'Or, best player in the world, because he deserves it. But I felt like the game, it always looked comfortable, as you said, for Real Madrid. Rodrigo scoring that penalty. In the end, Ferran Torres scoring, but it was almost like a consolation, although it was to make it 2-1. And I think Real Madrid look like the champions that they are. They really do. And you can see a big gap, I think, in the quality.
Yeah.
But I will say, Barcelona have had a really indifferent season this year because
strange season.
When Xavi went in, it looked like, he was doing really working wonders. And then now they could potentially find themselves back in the Europa League again.
Yeah.
In the Champions League, they're not doing well. I think a lot of people are backing them to win the tournament. So they could potentially, depending on the next fixtures, find themselves back in the Europa League again, as they did at this point last year. And that was obviously midweek. So, they're to find their confidence again. And the El Clasico is one of the biggest games, in the history of football, isn't it? So it was good that they got the win in the end.
Certainly was. Look, Jonathan, you know about this game more than most. What's it like, the build-up to this game? I mean, you've sort of seen and played in derbies over here in the Premier League. What's El Clasico like?
Well, it's nothing like you've seen before. You can imagine when you see Anfield and the people lying in the streets, it's about 5 times as big as that. These fans really want it. It's a hatred between the two sides, between the two cities, and if you get a ticket for that game, you're very, very lucky. The atmosphere inside the stadium is constant. Sometimes in the Bernabeu it can be slightly cinema-esque if you get me quiet, but when the Champions League's on or when they play Barcelona, it's a different ball game. And I thought when you looked at the game yesterday, you looked at the Madrid team and it just looked solid. It had some. If you see the players that played in there, most of them that played in the Champions League final against Liverpool, apart from Casemiro for Tchouaméni, and he's done exceptionally well. But I just thought, like you say, it was a comfortable game. They looked always in charge of the game. They looked like even if they wanted to step it up a gear, they could have done. And as for Barcelona, they struggled and they're struggling again. And as Leanne said previously, if they don't qualify again for the Champions League for the next round of 16, it is a catastrophe because they'll need the money to get through the next round. Okay, they'll probably finish second in the league, but they're going to do that. But if they don't progress again, then it'll be really bad for that football club.
Yeah, it's almost like they've taken a gamble financially again, right? Getting all these big players in, Lewandowski coming in as well to the club. That, okay, they will get us through to the next stage of the Champions League. If they don't, you can almost imagine there's going to be another fire sale where you literally could just go to Barcelona and pick out players and get them for cheap because they're going to have to sell players again. It's strange what's going on at Barcelona, especially under Xavi, who's loved. But again, even Xavi, as much as he's loved, won't be saved from getting the P45 shown at him if he doesn't qualify for the next stage of the Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we saw at Juventus with Andrea Pirlo. It doesn't matter how good you are as a player. When you manage a team, these businessmen and women are ruthless.
Yeah.
And I think, with regards to Barcelona, it's weird to me. I find it all really confusing that a team that has no money can go and buy all these players and they couldn't even register some of them. Do you know what I mean? There's all this question mark over financial and they're spending way more than they're bringing in, all those types of things. And obviously, Aubameyang going to Chelsea as well. I mean, I know Lewandowski's gone in there, but they lost to Bayern in the Champions League and Bayern beat them pretty comfortably. So, and there was a lot of emphasis, obviously, Lewandowski playing against his former club. But I think Barcelona, under Xavi, they looked like they were progressing, but the fans want the Champions League again, don't they? They've been used to having that success. And I think they don't really have that. They're used to having Iniesta, Xavi, Messi, and the players now, Busquets. It's sad because people talk about Ronaldo and his age, but Busquets doesn't look like the player. And it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they've still got Pedri, they've still got Gavi, they've still got an academy that are amazing. We know how historical their academy is, so the Messiah. So it's almost like they need to find a way because them dropping out into the Europa League at this point, the fans will not be happy with that. And I'm sure Xavi won't be because it's the way they look like they have too many players that are very similar. They don't look like Dembele's actually had a really good year this year. and finally, he's remained healthy and he looks really good. But a lot of their players are pretty similar, and that's the thing I worry about. And PK coming towards the end, there's a lot of players, and it just almost needs. It's almost like a changing of the guard needing to happen.
Yeah. John, for the last couple of years, everyone's been focused on Liverpool and Man City being the best teams in the world and Pep and Klopp being the best managers in the world. Should that title really now be with Carlo Ancelotti and the job he's done so far at Real Madrid, winning the Champions League, unbeaten so far in the league, for me, the favourites to retain the Champions League as well? Should we start giving him a lot more respect than we do?
Well, the credit is due for what he's done at Real Madrid. And like you say, going unbeaten this season. But for me, Man City, the best team in the world. Man City, the best team in the world. And I think they'll win the Champions League this season. Okay, Real Madrid won the Champions League last season. I went to a few of the games at the Bernabeu. I'll tell you what, I couldn't believe they'd won the game, especially against PSG at home, for one. Then Man City, I was like, how have you done it? But when you play at the Bernabeu, the fans just seem to suck the ball in the gut. It's unbelievable, and they never know when they're beaten. But for me, Man City, the best team in the world at the minute.
If Man City don't win, no. If Man City don't win, I don't disagree. But if Man City don't win the Champions League, can they still be considered the best team in the world?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you look at like Man City haven't won, and they're favourites to win it this year. Pep's still yet to win it at City. I think Bayern. I've said this last week. Like I think Bayern are going to be a team you have to really, really look at. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't.
You know what I like about this Real Madrid side? I just like the fact that it's an aging squad, but the aging players are still performing. I think we're seeing it with Benzema and Modric coming off the bench, but now they've added youth to it as well.
Camavinga,
Tchouaméni coming in, Vinicius as well on that side. So it's like an aging squad, and they keep adding sort of young legs to it. And I just like the way in which the squad is being built. And then you add Carlo Ancelotti to the mix, the Don Carlo, and I feel like we're just dismissing them a bit too much, considering they've won, I think, 5 out of the last 7 Champions Leagues. They won 5 out of the last 7, and we keep discounting them for some reason. They're my favourites.
Yeah.
My favourites behind Liverpool, of course. They're my favourites. Behind Liverpool, of course, they're my favourites.
I can see why.
Leanne Sanderson, thank you very much. Jonathan Woodgate, thank you very much. Problems for Barcelona, but Real Madrid, they keep on going on and on and on.